All right, let's go on ChatGPT. Even more stuff that's going on there. We'll talk about tech recessions with Derek Thompson a little bit later, but a big business announcement of which there's actually a lot to say. Let's put this up there on the screen. Microsoft is announcing a $10 billion investment into OpenAI, specifically to fund the ChatGPT platform. And it's a partnership where they want to, quote, accelerate breakthroughs in AI and help both companies commercialize the advanced technology. So this is the real test for what is the future of ChatGPT. And actually, I think it goes to a lot of questions around the internet. So right now, it's 2023. We came off the heels of a lot of hype around Web3 and like what that would look like, crypto, Ethereum, etc. But fundamentally, it came from this. There was a frustration that the promises of Web 2, of the Facebook, Google, and all of that, they became centralized. It felt like innovation was stifling, and it didn't feel like using the internet was fun or cool anymore. I haven't seen that level of enthusiasm around technology and specifically online then basically until now with ChatGPT. But then, just like with those questions of what we should have asked with Facebook and with Google about centralized and monopolized control over ad space, around attention and commodities, we got to ask the same questions too around AI and what exactly the quote unquote uses for this are going to be. Are these going to be open source? You know, OpenAI says that they want to have that mission, but Microsoft clearly is eyeing this for what do they do best? Enterprise business control. And there's a lot, look, there's some cool things that could come out of it, right? Maybe you're using your Microsoft Teams and it will draft a response for you to an annoying email or in a chat. That sounds cool. But what if they also use it to automate somebody's job? Or what if they also use it to, let's say, like predict exactly how many emails you should be sending in a day, and then benchmarking and then stacking everybody up against each other? Like, there are all kinds of dystopian corporate ways that you could push these things, as well as what the innovations could be. And clearly, that's where they see the business opportunity.
Yes.
That's why they're investing $10 billion into this.
Yes. So OpenAI, they built this thing, but they aren't really in the business of figuring out how to make it profitable, make money. And so they've basically partnered with Microsoft so that Microsoft can figure out how this thing will make money for them. And, you know, that always is a direction that starts to make me nervous, because what is going to make money for a gigantic corporation, a gigantic monopoly like Microsoft, is not necessarily what is in the best interest of society. I am not wise enough to predict what all of those applications could ultimately be. I will just say it makes me wary. I mean, some of the things that have been predicted or I guess are in the sort of rumor mill are like including ChatGPT as part of the Office suite.
Yes, exactly.
So when you're like writing your Microsoft Word document, you might have access to the ChatGPT tools right there where you can help use it to write whatever you're writing or ask questions or learn from it. They also might incorporate it into their search tool to help sort of like, you know, garner better results or more useful answers to questions that people are asking there. So those are some of the like obvious directions, which are not from the jump deeply troubling. We've talked about some of the concerns, which I think are justified among academics about like students cheating. Ultimately, I think that ship has sailed, though. You're just going to have to grapple with this as a totally new world. And part of why there is a real discomfort with ChatGPT, which again, I think is understandable, is the fact that now automation is coming for knowledge worker and even creative type jobs. People like journalists, for example, won't be needed in as large quantities if they get this working really well, where they can actually spit out articles or explainers that are accurate and useful to the public. I will say that just this morning I sent you an article, what was it, The Verge, that was experimenting already with using ChatGPT to create a lot of these like explainers and basic articles, and they had to stop the project because a number of the articles contained significant factual errors, and they did disclose that they were written by ChatGPT, but apparently some of the some of the journalists at The Verge felt like it wasn't disclosed sufficiently. And listen, and people are reading through this article, they're assuming that it's accurate. So they sort of had to pull the plug on that because the technology is just not quite there yet.
It was CNET, but yeah, CNET, which
okay.
has a partnership with Bankrate. But I mean, look, that also highlights like we're not there yet, but also it's not that far away. It shows you where a lot of the big dollars are going to be invested by the tech companies in the coming years. So I would say that the two frontiers where they're pumping the most amount of money is AI and then obviously the metaverse. Apple rumored to release its virtual reality headset sometime in the next year or so. That's going to rival the Oculus or whatever the new name is for it over at Meta. Then Microsoft is investing this $10 billion specifically, it seems, to try and get an edge on Google by possibly incorporating ChatGPT into the Bing search engine. But at the same time, Google itself is already ramping up and has had a long, decades-long project on artificial intelligence and may be rolling out their own competitor to this soon. So this does seem like the next frontier. And I do think it's just really important. There's a lot of questions around this stuff, right? Which is already, if you go and you ask ChatGPT like sensitive social political questions, oh, shocker, it's got bias or whatever in some direction. So even the way that these things get programmed, I mean, it has a lot of impact on the way that people might think about things, especially if we become very reliant on that technology. And even put the social aspects aside, like what is this going to look like at an enterprise level? Well, that is the real question. And that's why Microsoft, remember, this is a big corporate. Somehow we never really talk about it, but it's a multi-billion-dollar behemoth. I think it's like $1 trillion or something company. And they're openly also not only competing against Google, but also Amazon, which wants to incorporate AI into its web suite. So I think overall, like this really is one of the next frontiers. And they've been working on it for quite some time, but this does show you like the moment is here. And I think we're going to be covering this for the next couple of years.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I listened to a long interview with Sam Altman, who is the CEO of OpenAI. They're the makers of ChatGPT. There was a lot there that was interesting from him. I mean, one thing, he was kind of shooting down rumors that the next iteration of ChatGPT would really be this dramatic step forward. I mean, obviously it'll be an improvement, but there are people out there theorizing that it would be, a sort of like difference in kind where you're getting close to that organic, they call it AGI. What does that stand for? Artificial something intelligence.
Right.
Anyway, clearly I'm just new learning this, but he says, listen, it's not going to be everything that people are selling and sort of downplaying that. He also talked about how surprised he was that the reception to ChatGPT has been what it is. Like that it has been so, like people so interested in it and so freaked out about it and sparked this whole national conversation, because he felt like they had sort of intentionally released things step by step by step, where this was the logical next step. But something about this particular iteration and people's ability to really interact with it, it really kind of shocked people. And so he was surprised by that. He also talked about the Microsoft partnership. Now, they had already had a partnership. This latest announcement is an additional tranche of money and a deepening of that partnership. So this conversation happened before the latest announcement, but these comments from Sam still give you a sense of how they are ultimately thinking about it. Let's take a listen.
Can you talk a little bit about your partnership with Microsoft, I guess, how it's going and how they're using your tech?
It's great. They're the only tech company out there that I think I'd be excited to partner with this deeply. I think Satya is an amazing CEO, but more than that, human being, and understands. So do Kevin Scott and Mikhail, who we work with closely as well, like understand the stakes of what AGI means and why we need to have all the weirdness we do in our structure and our agreement with them. And so I really feel like it's a very values-aligned company, and there's some things they're very good at, like building very large supercomputers and the infrastructure we operate on and putting the technology into products. There's things we're very good at, like doing research, and it's been a great partnership.
So he's saying, listen, I mean, as we kind of laid out, what we're good at is building this thing. They're good at figuring out how to market it and incorporate it in products in order to make money, and he feels comfortable with the partnership. So that's sort of his view. And by the way, it's artificial general intelligence was the word that I was looking for there.
Yeah.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.